Hello, I'm Elton Robinson with your April 29th grain and oilseed update. According to crop progress reports, 30% of the U.S. corn crop had been planted by April 24th, compared to a 5-year average of 16%. Leading the way is Missouri with 81% planted, compared to a 5-year average of 31%. North Carolina at 73% planted. Tennessee is at 65% planted. And Kentucky and Texas have a little over 50% planted. Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa are all far ahead of their typical planting progress, including Iowa at 42%. That's compared to a 5-year average of 9%. Farmers in north central, and southeast Iowa have already planted over half of their corn crop. Meanwhile, soybean planting is about on pace with the 5-year average, with about 3% of the crop in the ground. Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas lead the way with 25%, 19%, and 17% respectively. Sorghum plantings at 20% complete are slightly behind the 5-year average. Louisiana at 64% leads the way, followed by Texas at 50% and Arkansas at 30%. 4% of the U.S. peanut crop is planted, which is on pace with the 5-year average. Florida leads the way at 12% planted. 62% of the U.S. rice crop is in the ground, which is 17 percentage points ahead of the 5-year average. Progress appears to be going quite well in Missouri, where 86% of the crop is planted, compared to a 5-year average of 33%. All states except California are above 50% planted. Just in case you haven't noticed, Missouri is having a great planting season for corn and rice this year, thanks to adequate soil moisture levels, temperatures of around 4 degrees above normal for the time period, and an ample number of days suitable for field work. 26% of the winter wheat crop is now headed out, which is a little ahead of last year's pace. 83% is listed in good to excellent condition. Now let's move to exports. This summary is based on reports from exporters for the week ending April 21st. Wheat exports of 440,000 metric tons were down 6% from the previous week, but up 6% from the prior 4-week average. The primary destinations were Japan, Mexico, Brazil, Taiwan, and the Philippines. Corn exports of 1.1 million metric tons were down 15% from last week's marketing year high. The primary destinations were Colombia, Mexico, Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea. Sorghum exports of 101,000 metric tons were down 47% from the previous week and 41% from the prior 4-week average, with China taking about 99%. Rice exports of 28,000 metric tons were down 43% from the previous week and 64% from the prior 4-week average. They were reported to Mexico, Jordan, Canada, Saudi Arabia, and South Korea. Soybean exports of 279,000 metric tons were down 18% from the previous week and 20% from the prior 4-week average, with Japan, Indonesia, and Mexico as primary destinations. Soybean meal exports of 248,000 metric tons were up 14% from the previous week and 27% from the prior 4-week average, with the Philippines, Egypt, Mexico, and Venezuela as the biggest customers. Soybean oil exports of 15,000 metric tons were down 14% from the previous week. Beef exports of 11,000 metric tons were down 7% from the previous week, with Japan and South Korea as primary destinations. Pork exports of 22,000 metric tons was a marketing year high, up 11% from the previous week and 20% from the prior 4-week average. Destinations included Mexico, China, and Japan. Well, that's it for this week's report. I'm Elton Robinson. See you next time.